Greetings, beautiful souls. This is Bevan Neiman Cortez coming to you from the small mountain village of Creel, Mexico. And I wanted to dive into the idea of luxury versus practicality, necessity, and what that looks like for different groups of people. So, we see maybe on social media when we're scrolling, there are advertisements for luxury handbags. I got one of those today. Luxury cars, really fancy, expensive cars, big homes, having a swimming pool, there are many things and connotations about what people see as luxurious, maybe going to the spa for a day or being able to take a fancy vacation and travel the world. And, it's not that those things are wrong, but I definitely in my life have struggled with judging luxury as superficial, as greedy, as people just wanting to have more and to have status, right? And so depending on who you are and what kind of lifestyle you're living, and I'm living kind of a homesteading, back to the earth, a sort of lifestyle here in this region. Luxury may look different for each person. So for someone who lives a certain lifestyle and has a certain level of financial wealth, luxury may be a car, a home, a vacation, a handbag. That may be constituting what they feel is, like, I deserve it. I want this. I am buying this thing and it's for me and I'm going to show it off and those kinds of things. And, I don't live inside that person's reality. So I'm trying to suspend a judgment about what I think about that. What I usually think about that is, damn, don't you look around at the world and see all the things that are going on? And that's what you're choosing to spend your money and your wealth on. That's what you're choosing to focus your energy on. But I know that that's very judgmental. So I'm going to talk about what luxury is for my husband and I. And we are living, in essentially we are glamping, right? Which is glamorous camping. We have a nice cabin here in this little village. And we live near the forest, and we have a space to do gardening. And, this is a luxury for many people. Many people would love to be able to move out of the city, move into the country, live, a simpler lifestyle. And perhaps I'll talk about that in another video. Like, it's not as simple as you think it is. And it's very physically intense to do this kind of thing. But, a lot of people would see like this is a luxury. Like, I can't get away from my corporate job. I can't move my family right now. I can't do these things. So they would look at what we're doing as a luxury. But for us, we're living very simply, and we're, reusing almost everything we have. Almost all of our clothing is, we've had it for years and years and years. As a matter of fact, I need some new socks, and when I get some new socks who don't have a hole in the heel, I'm going to see that as a luxury. I'm going to be like, new socks, how exciting. And that's true for us. We live within walking distance of the town, and often we will walk down there and back. But as a person with a physical disability, it can be really challenging, and I get really tired the next day from doing that. So it's a luxury to get a taxi, and there's like this little like open air taxi that comes and picks us up, and the man is wonderful and he knows everyone in the town, and so we get ideas and connections, and for us that's a luxury. Like, we get to ride. It's so great. And then, sometimes we are just, really focused on eating healthy. So we're buying vegetables and lean meats and fruits and tortillas and all of those things. And then we're like, ooh, we slip in just a little small chocolate bar that we share in the evening, when we're like sitting in bed watching a movie. And that's a luxury for us. These are things that we don't normally engage in, and we don't normally get to have. And it's really exciting for us when we do get to have it. But then we look in a more serious note at, for example, a Palestinian family in Gaza who is going through the current genocide process right now, who is being displaced, who's living in a tent, who's scrambling just to get a little bit of flour or just a little bit of food. And to them, having clean water, food, or medical care is a luxury. It's also a necessity, but it's something that is unusual and something they don't normally get at this point. And so we begin to look at, what is it that I really need to be happy? Because, I mean, in my past, I made really good money when I worked in the corporate world. I went and had a massage every month. I treated myself, right? And that was the first time in my life I was ever able to do that. I grew up in a low income family. No shame on my parents, but that's, how to describe it. We had very little financial resources. So what we did is we looked around at the land, we looked at our property, and we reused everything and we made it work. And I was just used to that. And so being able to buy a brand new car, I've only done that once in my life. I don't even own a car now. So that would be a huge luxury, to have some kind of vehicle to go downtown, but it's not really necessary for us to do that, to spend insurance and gas and maintenance and all that thing just to go 5 minutes. It just doesn't make sense. It's like, well, we should walk, or we're actually talking about getting bicycles. But, I've been in that space where I've been in places where people are high income earners or high wealth, holders, if you will. And I've seen the lifestyle, I've seen the fancy clothes, I've seen the fancy cars, I've seen the status seeking. And I was a part of that culture for a while when I worked in the corporate world. And I realized it was empty, right? So no matter how much money I made, and my goal as a young person, as a 20-something, was to pull myself out of poverty through an education, through my work. And I did that. And then I got there and I was like, okay, it's nice to be able to just spend money to go on a retreat if I want to without having to think about it. It's nice to invest in my personal and spiritual growth. That's when I did my coaching certification, all of that thing. It was really great, but it didn't really mean anything. And the idea of what luxury is has changed for me dramatically. My husband is 20 years older than me. And I know that we only have so much time. And so time together is a luxury right now. Time spent learning how to homestead. And, he grew up in the city and he's always been in the city. And so now he's learning what it's like to live in a small town and to live out in the countryside and to do this kind of thing. That's a luxury, that he gets to have this experience in his life. It's a luxury when we get to spend time with friends. We have some friends that are coming over here shortly. And, I was thinking, I'm going to rush around and clean up the whole house and try to make it all look perfect. And then I went, you know what? They came here to see our lifestyle. And this is our lifestyle. Most days I just have this hat on. My hair is an absolute mess. I just woke up, just did some dishes. He's making breakfast. We're just we're casual people. We don't need to be fancy. We don't need to have all of that. Do I like to dress up sometimes? Do I like to go out to a nice place? Absolutely. And it's fine to do so. And I also realized that I want to live lighter on the earth. That I want to use less resources, use less wood, use less water, use less electricity, all the things that stress our planet. And so I'm choosing this lifestyle, and I'm choosing to live in a very simple, practical way and a casual way. And yet there's a part of me that watches on social media, fashion shows because I love art. I'm trained as an artist. And so there's this dichotomy that we have sometimes between, do I like this thing? Do I allow myself to have this thing? What does it mean for me to seek out this thing? And what does it mean for me to choose something on the opposite side? So between luxury, there would be like austerity, right? Where you would live like a hermit, like a monk. You would never let yourself have any possessions, no wood, no fuel, no heat, no water, no anything. And I don't want to live like that either. Maybe in another lifetime I was like that. But I do need certain luxuries, if you will. Things that would have been luxuries to our ancient ancestors, which is living in an inside space, having, wood to warm up the room so that I'm not freezing, having water to take a shower, those kind of things. These would be considered luxuries by our ancient ancestors and by many people around the world. And so, when we enter into this dichotomy, and you may have a different dichotomy than me, I watched a tarot reader today who said, maybe it's like the difference between trusting people and not trusting people. And I think she meant people you just meet, right? Or even people you've known for a while. Like, do you automatically trust, or do you hold back yourself? And there can be other dichotomies as well, not just luxury and austerity, but, having a lot of money or, having almost no money. It can be between being a hermit and being really social. It just depends. Everyone has this dichotomy, and this one is mine. It's like, I'm drawn to these luxury items. I'm drawn to that kind of lifestyle. Sometimes I wish I had a lot of money and I could just, do things to help other people and also, live at a little higher standard of living. And then other times I'm like, no, I don't really need to do that. I'm fine. And so we go back and forth between these different things. And I'm trying to find that balance, that middle ground between the two, because it's really important for us to realize that we don't have to go to the extremes. I can have beautiful pottery and, a few small special pieces, but I don't need to fill my entire home with expensive things. I can go to dinner and dress nicely every once in a while with people that I care about and enjoy, and drink a glass of wine and be waited on by someone else, because it's so nice to have someone else make you food. And, I don't have to get a massage every month, but maybe I could do it 2 or 3 times a year to just help my body to relax, and especially with fibromyalgia can really help. So, this is what we're exploring here, my friends. We're exploring what is our true nature. What do we really need and want? What is important to us? And as I settle into this very different lifestyle that most people don't choose, I realize there are things that I thought were important before that are not important anymore. And there's a letting go process, letting go of desiring to be looking all fancy on camera. I used to get all dressed up, put on a fancy background, have nice clothes, put on makeup. And now you see me like this, right? And it's very different, and it feels uncomfortable for me. But this is more really how I'm living and how I've always been living. I'm always out digging in the garden. Probably my face is dirty from, building a fire in the wood stove this morning. My hair is a mess because, it takes a lot of effort to keep it clean when it's cold and you just need to wear a hat anyway. And so we start to put aside these things that we thought we needed, that we thought were going to make us happy, and we start focusing on the things that actually make us happy, that actually bring the sun, right? The sun is the most favorable card in the tarot deck. It's shining. And even though I'm not looking fancy on camera and having the I don't know, neon backgrounds that so many people have in the spiritual world on YouTube and all the things, I'm happy here. This suits me, a casual lifestyle where I don't have to pull myself together for other people's approval, where I can live close to the land. It's okay to be dirty. It's okay to not be fancy. And it's also okay for me to like some of those things and to do some of those things at different times. And it's okay for you, whatever your dichotomy is, that you go back and forth between these two extremes. What's that middle ground? And how do you find that for yourself? And how do you realize what's real for you? How do you figure that out? What kind of lifestyle is real? What kind of relationships are real? Being you and not trying to prove anything anymore is really what this is about. So let me know. Let me know what your dichotomy is. Either click reply to the email, or if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment. I love to interact with you and to hear how these messages resonate. And please like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. It really helps me to grow my channel and to expand the Soulful Gardener. Thank you, my friends. Find that middle ground. It's time. It's time to come to that center. It's time to recognize that you don't have to have either or. You can have both and. And that's what we're doing here today. Love you, my friends. Bye-bye.